Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. And how do you do? Y'all can see I'm at a different location. Why? Because I have some work to do for my God, my Lord, my Savior, Jesus Christ. Yes, I do. He woke me up this morning and said, Edwina, rise. There's something I want you to do, and there's somebody I want you to touch. So get up, get dressed, and go to your office and do what you're supposed to do every morning because I give him the honor, the praise, the glory, the hallelujah, the worship, and most importantly, the acknowledgement. So, yes, I'm here at my office, Devon Light, here in Wilmington, Delaware, where we provide services to those suffering from co occurring disorders of mental illness and substance abuse, like myself. Been in recovery for 34 plus years, one day at a time. And to God be all the glory. I give him all the acknowledgement for delivering me 34 plus years ago from underneath that parked car. So, what I want to do now is to share with you some updates, and I don't have everything I need, but I'm going to let you know that this is Free to Hope, right? Y'all know that is from Recovery, Emerge, Empowered to give hope to others, help others prosper equally, all right? And because of my emergence into the marvelous light of recovery, I know I am helping just one person. I know it. I know it. I know it. My job is just to plant the seed. One person that God allowed me to help, right, is my niece slash sister. And many of you know her services are coming up on Saturday, August the 10th. And I would like to invite you. I would like to invite you to share the memorial service of my niece slash sister, Helen Sabrina Hall, Canaan Baptist Church, 3011 Newcastle Avenue. Y'all see the information on the screen. The service starts from noon to 1, and then the repast is 1 to 3. And from 3 to 3:30, we're going to clean up and get out and keep it moving. So, basically, I really want to reach out to all my Facebook friends who are in that area during that particular day because I'm asking for support. Even though I'm grounded in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ's bosom, there's times when I want those who love me, encourages me, support me to be with me. So if you are able to be there on Saturday, August the 10th, from noon to 1, I really could use your support. I can. And so I just want to encourage you, like I try to be every day, to be of service to others. And I'm asking you, if it's God's will, that you be of service to me and show up on August the 10th at noon at Canaan Baptist Church for the memorial service of my sister slash niece. Okay. So let's get to our topic for today. All right. So the topic for today is called driven. Oh, I didn't change it, okay? But I'll change it. So it's called driven, all right? It's not listening deeply. That was yesterday, all right? So goes to show you how much of a rush I was in to get this thing right. But the fact that I'm here is enough to let you know it doesn't matter. As long as you can hear me and you are listening deeply, how about listening to this topic? Now, from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, our co founder extracted from page 62 a quote that says, driven by 100 forms of fear, self delusion, self seeking, and self pity, we step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. Woo, woo, I got to get into this, boy. And the person in recovery shares his perspective by saying, my selfishness was the driving force behind my drinking. I drank to celebrate success and I drank to drown my sorrows. Humility is the answer. Yes, I learned to turn my will and my life over to the care of God. My sponsor tells me that service keeps me sober. Yes. Today I ask myself, have I sought knowledge of God's will for me? Have I done service for my AA group? Oh, my. What a topic. What a topic. Driven, okay? It says, right, driven to 100 forms of fear, right? Driven. So life, in my opinion, and from what I've seen and from what I've heard, and from what I have experienced, right? According to the Louise family, the five agreements, right? All of our character defects, right, are driven by fear. Fear of this, fear of that, fear of not getting this, fear of not getting that, fear of what you say, all that kind of stuff, right? And so when I think about the topic fear, 100 forms of fear. Fear comes in different forms, okay? So, self delusion, I'm not going to continue to lie to myself. I'm not going to continue to be a person that's in denial, right? Right? Self seeking. How many of you, like me, want to be the center of the world, the center of attention, the center of attraction, right? And we all know about self pity. Pour me, pour me. And then at one point, we say, pour me a drink. Okay. And so, one of the things that I've also noticed, right? It says here, when our character defects, when our fears, when our self delusions, when our self seeking and our self pity, we step on the toes of our fellows. And guess what? They retaliate. Yes, they retaliate, right? And so, in recovery, we learned that our character defects, like any other human being, are many and they are varied, right? And so when I am well, what can I say? When I'm in my bag, right? And I don't want to be bothered or something I'm going through, and I didn't get my way or something, and so the first person that I encounter may get the lash of that frustration, right? And so here it says, when we experience all these forms of fear, right? Self pity, self delusion, right? Self deception, okay, right? And self seeking, we step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate, okay? And so just like I retaliate, guess who has the right to retaliate too? Because character defects, they clash, right? So if I want to be first in line and you want to be first in line, and I see you coming and you see me coming, and we like, and then whoever gets there first, we like, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? And so I've learned in recovery that all human beings are ill to some extent. That's just the nature of living in a sinful world and being born with a sinful nature. Our character defects clash. As much as I want to believe that everybody is harmonious and everybody is caring and everybody is loving, the Louise family said that's a big lie. Oh, that's a big lie. Even you ain't loving all the time, Edwina. So that's a big lie. Okay. And so I love the fact that coming to you every morning, I get to share the Alcoholics Anonymous daily reflections that I've been reading for over 34 plus years. Okay. So let's dissect what the person in recovery says. Okay. He says, right? My selfishness was the driving force behind my drinking. Okay. My selfishness, right? My self centeredness, right? Was behind, it says here, behind, right? My drinking, right? So when I think about selfishness. I want. It is all about me. Now, it's amazing how throughout journey in life we learn how to be selfish, right? I'm not trying to share my bottle with the other person. I'm not trying to mom didn't but my children, Kenesha and DJ, they were both right. And so at one time when I was nursing my son, who's the youngest, honey, my daughter Kenesha, she would come over there and grab that other titty and what? She said, no. And sometimes she would try to pull it out of his mouth. Oh, wait a minute, wait. I told you I'm authentic and transparent, right? So, but when it talks about my alcoholism, at some point in time, when I want to escape any and everything, when I don't want to feel, when I don't want to face anything, when I want to run, I escape through drinking in the beginning socially. I need to wind down. I need to, get off the stress, right? Like many people. But I had no idea that I was stressful every day. I was trying to wind down, when you got dentures in your mouth and you suffer from Bell's palsy. So that's another thing. I had Bell's palsy 8 years ago. And even though you may not see it in my face, it sometimes comes through my articulation. So when I try to wind down every day, right, I want to release the stress. I want to kind of woosah. I always sought drinking, and drinking led to smoking marijuana. And then smoking marijuana led me to want to be up, and I started snorting cocaine. And when I started snorting cocaine, I wanted to be up even more. So I would take black beauties, and then I was introduced to psychedelic drugs. Trying to right. My selfishness, wanting to get outside of myself, not wanting to feel, not wanting to deal. So let me get something that's going to make me feel better. So I think, right. And so my selfishness, I need to feed me. I need to feed me, right? My selfishness was the force behind my drinking. Yes, particularly towards the end when I was smoking crack, and I was smoking crack to go up. I drank alcohol to come down. If I didn't have alcohol, I drank something else with alcohol in it. And so drinking, right, my selfishness was the force behind my drinking. Okay, so now it also says here, right? I drank to celebrate success, right? I drank to celebrate success. I drank to celebrate success, right? And so when I think about how I drink, right, to celebrate success, I also drink to drown my sorrows. So the moral of the story is I drink for this, I drink for that. I drink for you, I drink for me. I drink. Okay. And so alcohol led to other things led to other things led to other things, right? And so I can't tell you when I crossed the line from social drinking to alcoholic drinking. And so by the time I wanted to acknowledge that I was in trouble, I was in denial. Yes, I was. I was in denial. Okay. And so you see here, the statement says, my selfishness was the driving force behind my drinking. I drank to celebrate success, and I drank to down my sorrows. I was driven to drink. I was driven to drink. I was driven to drink. I was driven to drink, right? And so, whatever your vice is, whatever your crutch is, whatever your dependence on something is, we are driven, right? We are driven to feed ourselves, right? So that we can, right, so that we can forget, so that we don't feel, right? We are driven, right, by our selfishness not to feel, okay? But guess what? Those feelings pass, right? All right, so let's see what else he says, okay? He also says here, humility is the answer. Humility is the answer. It wasn't drinking. It wasn't prostituting. It wasn't smoking crack. It wasn't an outside substance, right? It wasn't other people, right? That I tried to fill the void with. I was driven to fill the void with anything, anybody, right? And so my selfishness drove me, right? Was the force behind me doing all those things, right? And so here it says humility is the answer. Hmm. Humility is the answer. Think about it, right? When I was the last day that I got high and did all kinds of sexual favors for my own stepson, I was in a total state of humiliation. Okay, I was just totally humiliated, doing what I was doing and drinking and all that kind of stuff, right? And so what I've learned through that experience of being humiliated, and most of us know what that feels like, right? So when we are humiliated, sometimes our selfishness comes out and we pretend that we are okay with everything and we're not. And so, one of the things that I've learned in my years of recovery is that I have to make sure that when I go to my 12 step meetings and I go to read my literature, that there's information that talks about humility versus being humiliated. And so my cry underneath that parked car 34 years ago was, whoever they say you are, take me out this life or show me a better way. And so that's what I mean by we are driven. In Alcoholics Anonymous, I found out that my drinking and everything, right, was brought about my selfishness. And then learning that I had the disease of alcoholism, the disease of addiction. Wow, I thought something was wrong with me. But the reality is, something happened to me, and I sought drinking and drugging and prostituting to fill that void. And all it did was create more problems. So, humility is the answer. And our seventh step, it says, humbly ask Him to remove our shortcoming. Many of you know I do my 12 steps with you. I go from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3 to 3 to 4, all the way down to 12. But it's in step 7 that we humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. Okay. So humility is the answer. When I want to have my God bring me down to my right size, right? So he also says, right, the person in recovery shares their experience. I got a few more minutes on my battery, so I'm going to try to whip it up a little bit. And so he says here, right, I learned to turn my will and my life over to the care of God. Did you hear the key word? Did you hear the key word? The key words say, I learn. I learn, huh? I practice. I learn turning my will and my life over to the care of God. I learn, meaning I had to unlearn a lot of the unhealthy attitudes, ideas, and behaviors that were formulated in my childhood, that perpetuated throughout my life, even up until now, right? So I had to unlearn what I learned that was not healthy and conducive, not to my humanness, but to my spirituality. There's a difference, okay? And so this person, like me, I had to learn. I learned by going to meetings. I learned by reading my literature. I learned by getting involved in service work. I learned by helping others, right? And so that mindset that I had in my addiction and before I became addicted, I use it in my recovery, right? So I am selfish about my recovery, meaning I am selfish about my recovery. I don't want to give anything or anybody that much power ever again to put me back underneath that parked car and to tell the God who I didn't know to kiss my behind. Oh, hell to the no. No, 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 right? And so I learned through the 12 principles, through the spiritual tools and resources that are at my feet that I need to pick up and utilize and then practice, right? And so I learned, right, how to turn my will and my life over to the care of God, right? And I found my loving and caring God in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, okay? And so then he says, my sponsor tells me that service keeps me sober. Oh my God. He says that right, helping others keep me sober. So when you think about Bill W. and Dr. Bob and all the other ones, and that picture that they have of that guy on the bed, he was a mean, nasty Irishman. He beat up the nurses and everything, right? And the whole idea was one alcoholic helping another, one alcoholic helping another. And so because of that point of wanting to be sober, Dr. Bob and Dr. Bill realized that in order for them to stay sober, they needed to find somebody else who was in the state that they used to be in to share their experience, strength, and hope, and to allow that person to see that it's all about each other being of service to one another, right? All right. And so the last thing that I want to share, because I did get, like, I got 10% on my battery. I didn't bring my cord. He says here, I ask myself every day, right? Today I ask myself, have I sought knowledge of God's will for me? Yeah. So the fact that I'm doing this at my job because I got some work to do for my regional director, bless her heart, and I needed to come, but it didn't stop me from doing what I need to do, and that is to be of service to one more person who expects me to come on, who looks for me to come on and share my experience, my strength, and my hope. To share what pathways I took to be set free from recovery, emotional